Community Beacon, Fridays at 6:30 EST, with your hosts Michaeldseville and Joel Simmons. A channel whose focus is liberty. A place where the lessons discussed and taught will create openings to a more open and freer mindset. A mindset where you may reach the height of your potential and excel. Here are your hosts, Mike and Joel.
What is going on? What is going on, people? It is Community Beacon. It's Friday. Most of you are at your jobs and you have stuff to do, but we appreciate you all for coming in and checking in with us each and every Friday. On the opposite side of my screen is my co-host with the most, Mr. Joel Simmons, always on the run. What is going on, brother?
Hey man, I'm glad to be here with you. That's what I can say. I love your flat cap over there. So I'm glad to be here. Another day, as you would normally say, another way. And God has been good to us. So I'm excited about this. We'll have a little bit of time to talk. Let's get it started, man. I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I got the memo with the hat, so I appreciate we both got the memo this morning, the consciousness to wear the hat. So shouts out to the hats in this old school style that it seems like we're trying to bring back. Guys, remember to like, subscribe, and share. We really do appreciate you. I'm going to get through this housekeeping as quickly as possible. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and we appreciate it. It costs nothing, and we'll also engage with you. You might actually be able to benefit from from doing it. So appreciate that. On Mondays, remember, guys, what it takes. I drop that on Mondays, 4 to 6 o'clock without any delay. So please check me out. Talking about real estate, talking about life, etc. So definitely want you to check in. Of course, on Wednesdays at around 12:30, it starts with who, brother?
Yeah, it starts with me. Great episodes, y'all. Just jump on in there, get on in there. Make sure you invite your teens to jump in there too. Make sure you invite your wives to jump in there because the type of conversations that we have, they're changing lives. I'm always glad to be able to receive another comment or a conversation from people. I'm very grateful for all of you all who have commented and given me phone calls and things like that. So jump on in there, see what it takes.
Appreciate that. And of course, we culminated our week with Community Beacon. So once again, we appreciate you all for checking in with us each and every Friday. Let me get this ticker stopping and we can get into this conversation. Brother, every time I see you, you're doing something, you're moving, you're moving around, etc. What's going on in your neck of the woods or wherever you are at this point in time?
Yeah, man. So it's a big time right now. We have my mentor Jamie is about to come into town. So a lot of things are about preparation. So we should be meeting her and Cash Rastan when we meet in Cash Rastan and Jamie tonight to go out, and then tomorrow we have a lot going on. So it's gonna be big. We got people coming down from North Carolina, to Georgia, to Alabama. The team is coming in from all over. So it's a really exciting time. It's a very exciting time in this preparation phase. So I'm definitely grateful, brother.
Absolutely grateful to see you. I know you're always moving. I would say mine is the exact opposite.
What's going on?
I'm really like sitting and getting to know and understand myself at this point. So a lot of work doing within myself, a lot of just getting out of the same, loop, so to speak. I was in Delray a little bit earlier, talking with the group, my group, etc. It was interesting being around them as well. We're part of the movers and shakers down there in Delray. Shouts out to Paul Saperstein in Delray. Appreciate him and everything that he's done for me. But I had a little bit of time to think. And so what I'd like to talk about on this episode, if you don't mind, if you'd allow, I'd appreciate, is thriving and surviving.
Oh man, that's good.
I want us to talk about thriving and surviving. And this thought came to me a little bit earlier this week. So I'm glad I get a chance to speak with you about it. I almost wanted to call you right then and there so we could have a conversation about it. But it was interesting, and it was this quick aha moment, because a lot of this, I want us to understand the state that we're in. Because when you're coming from a positive and a positive state, you're in a good state, happy. Some people call it happy. Some people call it when you're in a flow state. When you're in a higher state, you're allowed to access a lot of our innate resources. Well, Mike, what are resources? I'll tell you. There's things that you innately have and you develop as you go through life. An innate resource would be trust. Another resource might be listening. Another resource might be empathetic. Another resource, it's a lot. It's more so about being aware. You use your resources to be aware of situations, and therefore being able to solve problems and or challenges. Let's call them challenges as opposed to problems. So when you're in a thriving mindset, where you're not check to check, some of us is day to day, some of us are week to week. So there's a difference. Where you're in this constant state of struggle, just attempting to survive. Keeping your head above water, doing the best that you can, temporary layoffs, good time. When you are in this constant state of survival, we tend to miss out on a lot of opportunities to solve these different challenges that we have. Now, when you're in a state of thriving, state of success, in a high state of love, you can start to what they call widen your scope. Now, at this point, what some people call the flow state, you start to see everything. I played sports, and I can never forget when I was at my highest point. This was when I was in a flow state, and I dropped like 37 points in a game. And I was making assists, and I saw where the ball was coming off the rim to get the rebound I was aware of all the problems. I could see the floor more clearly. That's when you're in a thriving state, when you're in your flow state. The situation is, and here's the thing, because the brother and I drop off a lot of information, a lot of jewels, a lot of things that we can take with us to make our lives better, more fruitful, make our families' lives better and more fruitful, make our community more fruitful, right? But because we're giving this information, we're giving out this information, and a person is not in a higher state, they're in a survival mode state. I can't think about this. This is going on. My wife is tripping. My husband is tripping. My kids, the school. Because you got to understand that these things, these outer things, are always vying for our attention and attempting to pull our resources. Right now, they say attention is like is the new currency. Attention has always been the currency. It's always been the currency. Money is just a tool that we use. And what happened is that we started to correlate, and we started to give more value to this money, to this tool. And so that kind of clouded our state, our higher state, because now if we don't have X amount, whatever we think is suffice in the bank, then all of a sudden we go into this straight survival mode, right? We go into this part. And some of us have been living in these different states for a very long time. Some of us are kind of, we're nurtured in these survival states. We're nurtured in I don't turn down anything but my collar. We're nurtured in a place of scarcity. And when you're in this place of scarcity, when you can't see the full what's going on the field, they will take advantage of that. There's opportunists out here who are taking advantage of people who are in these states that they can't see the field because they're constantly in this state. So you don't know who's really paying attention to you. And I'm gonna tell you what, this is what really, earlier this week, what really brought it up is that I don't care how much we say, we call it faking it until you make it. So you have this false, this bravado, this I'm going to call it fake confidence, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's not even confidence, it's arrogance, because anyone who's coming from a thriving state, anyone who's coming from a higher state of being, a higher level of consciousness, we can see it. if someone is coming strictly out of a place of love, if someone is coming strictly out of a place of enlightenment, of coming out of a place of just this higher thought process, we can easily identify people who are in that are apathetic. And you can talk as much as you want, you can smile as much as you want, you can laugh as much as you want, but a person, this is because this is nature. This is not nature. You ever got that vibe, brother? I don't know if you ever got that feeling. Like, I got that feeling. You're saying a lot, and we come from a place, you're saying a lot, but your words don't necessarily match the energy that you're giving off. Like we can tell, like, so, and the brother's really good at it, because you can. I've seen him dissect it to where a person's coming with a laughing and, you know, the platitudes. How you doing, brother? You know, I'm blessed and highly favored. You know, one of those real rhetorical things. And the brother, then you get down with, brother, really, how you feel? Like, really, what's going on? And, you know, at that point in time, a person has the choice of whether or not they want to expound. Thank God I know who you are and I know your intention. So when you ask me those type of questions, I know that it's a safe space for us to have that conversation, and I'm really being listened to. I want to go back to the point that I'm making, though, is that you can come off as, this is great, and God's strengthening me, and this, that, and the third. But someone come from a higher state can say, you know what, I hear what you're saying. I hear the words that are coming out of your mouth. But your actions, and I wouldn't even say your actions, because some people can even fake the actions. Your energy, it comes across. We can feel it. This is why when this false information that's given in regards to fake it until you make it. No, you got to believe it. You really got to trust in it. You got to trust in it, and you got to trust into yourself. And a person who's seen it, and it's crazy because I'm just starting to see it now, where I'm like, okay, well, you're talking this and you're saying that, but you're scared to move because you don't have any trust in yourself. And I'm going to say it, if you don't really trust in yourself, it's really hard for you to trust into something greater than you, because the thing that's greater than you already has the plans laid out. The plans is already laid out. The little bit of trust that you need to have in yourself is that step that you need to take.
Yeah.
And you see the step because you got to this point. All your experiences allow you to see this step. Now it's the action of taking the step. You're telling me you got to trust in something greater. That greater, the thing you have trust in greater already has it laid out. What's the verse? He said he know you before you knew yourself. Right. So it's laid out. The faith part, the part that you have to believe in, the trust in yourself that you have to believe in is, I got to take that step. And even if that step is, and you know, sometimes I don't know if you ever took a step where it says watch your step. You don't really know how much depth you have. Some people don't know how much depth they have, or maybe you didn't even see it, but you kind of drop. That's what it is. Sometimes you kind of got to. It's a step where you don't really know the depth of the step, and so we get some of us, you know, and I'm gonna tell you what, our carnal selves have really good balance, right? So we get to that step, and it's a little bit lower than what we thought it was going to be, and then we jump back and we put our foot back on that other step, and we do that for a long time to where it becomes us. We identify with it. So we can say all of these different words, and we can and talk to someone and smile. Like, once again, the smiling and the laughing and etc. But I would even say that your actions, because we'll go back and look at your actions. You first off your actions, and because you're so caught up in this action, this uncertainty. Right? You get caught up in this thought because this experience has showed you this, or you saw this on TV, or someone you know went through this, and etc. But this thing is between you, this survival thing, because you got to cut all that off. This survival thing is about yourself and your relationship. So I can't speak on other people's relationships. I can't speak, but we look at it because that's just part of being human. We see it and we just like, well, he took a step and he didn't, he didn't, it didn't work out for him or whatever. Well, that might not have been, that's a whole different situation because we're only around this person for X amount of time. I don't care if it's your mother or if it's your kids or even your wife. I know as having a partner sometimes that the partner could be laying in bed with you and you up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, dealing with your relationship with what you got going on. And you're like, I don't want to disturb this person, but I'm going through it. I can't. I have to take it upon myself. So there's that thing, and I know I'm going on and on, but I'm gonna give you a chance to talk so that we can kind of discuss it. I don't want to monopolize it because I'm sure I know you got the insight to it.
Man, brother, that was good, and I pray that people were hearing that. I was just speaking with the gentleman yesterday, and I shared a little bit of my testimony and whatnot with him, and he just broke out of first. He was telling me, we're doing kind of well. I decided to refocus my attention. I'm not gonna call your name out because you might be watching this show tonight, but I'm definitely thinking about you. I just want you to understand that this is not pointing the finger at you. It's because I'm thinking about you and I want you to receive everything that you need. But he was telling me that he refocused his attention to family, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I love my family. You should
Right.
always focus on your family. But in this case, he was utilizing that as a crutch. It was the reason why he was not able to accomplish the other things that he had set forth to accomplish. And like I've known him for, a year or two now. And so we've talked here and there. And so I began to explain to him my transformation, the latest one that has called me to be on this show with the great Michael Seville, you know, who invited me to be a part of this thing and who started up something, who ignited something inside of me that he had seen for years, but that I had never stepped into in the fullness of it. And so Mike is he's my reason for why I'm here. He's a part of it, a great part of it. The reason why I'm here in this environment right now. So I just like to, give you your props as well, because of what you ignited inside of me. And some people say motivation and inspiration, it's not necessarily necessary. Well, let me say some things then, because Mike mentioned a bunch of things. One of them he mentioned about humility, but first I want to start off with that belief one that he had mentioned. So in the book of Hebrews, the 11th chapter, the 6th verse, it says, "He that cometh unto God must first believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." So I just want to dissect that a little bit, whether it's your belief or not. I'm going to tell you something that the words hold true. So it's not necessarily about your belief, although it does separate me from many as well as Mike, because my belief has made me strong. But what I'm getting at is that the belief. So he that cometh unto God must first believe. So you have to have a belief. But the thing about belief is it is a blueprint. When I talked to one of my mentors, Greg Cap, he would always say, "Belief is a blueprint." Belief is a blueprint. That's what it is, a blueprint. So what does that mean? When you believe in something, it means that you are starting to gain a visual concept of whatever it is that you desire to do, be, want, whatever that is. You are gaining a visual concept. It is changing the way that you see things. That's belief. But then there's a next step. And it says, "He that cometh unto God must first believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." So the seeking him diligently is action. That's when faith comes into the factor, is when you actually start to perform the things that you believe in. And when that happens, you start to build up confidence. And it becomes confidence begets confidence. In other words, when you take one step and it doesn't work, but you take the next one anyway, You begin to develop strength. And then finally, you have the result because you did not care about the result. You get the result. Somebody might have missed that, but what I'm saying is that your belief drives you to faith, which drives you to action, which drives you to greater belief, which drives you to greater faith, which drives you to greater results. But it's not about seeking the results, it's about knowing that the possibility of the result is always there if you diligently go after it. So, what does that mean inside of my business, inside of my household? You know, thriving versus striving. It means that when I'm striving, it is most likely because I have a lack of belief. My identity is low, a poor mentality. For instance, somebody, and this is no knock on people who are on welfare or people who take government checks, no knock on you if you're living off your social security. There's no knock on you, none whatsoever. Many people are doing well like this. But I want to ask you a question. Can you do more? Can you, and not so much the social security, but can you outpace welfare? Can you outpace WIC? Is it necessary to have 8 kids to gain more funds so that you can be approved? This is a hard topic. Is it necessary for you to be approved for housing? Or can you outpace it? All of these programs are designed to be outpaced. But what we have to have is we have to have a stronger belief in ourselves and a desire. So that's one of the things that's missing is we lack initiative, a desire to thrive. So we settle for striving. We settle for just barely making it. And so the guy that's standing next to you that is successful doesn't always have many more dollars than you. Sometimes they're at the exact same level of income that you're at. They're shopping at the same grocery store. But there's something about them that is different. That is their mindset. It's their belief system. It's their value system. And because of that belief, they are able to achieve something different. And not because of just belief. Let me clarify that. It's not simply because of belief, because belief is the blueprint. It is because they are taking action steps in what they believe is possible, where many people have rested inside of what they have. They have found themselves to be content with what they have and what they're doing. Mike stated that he is in the situation or in the mindset of where he is looking at himself and he's reevaluating. And some people may have listened to that and said, oh, well, this, that, or the third, you know. But I would like to share with you one of my mentors, my past mentor, uh, Daddy Madison, Dr. S.C. Madison. He would state, he stated this on one occasion. He said, wherever I go, I check myself. I evaluate myself.
Oh, brother.
And this is a man who has reached the highest level of his ability to the point where a college university called him and said, we need you to come here because your humanitarianism is by far like none we have ever seen. You are a doctor of humanitarianism, and we want to gift this to you. We just want you to show up because we're going to drape you with accolades because of the actions that you have done, never asking for a thing. What you have done has far exceeded what we are teaching inside of our school system, our university. You could come in and teach the class yourself because of your authentism. Authenticity. You are so authentic and your actions speak louder than words. So What is the difference between striving and thriving? Thriving is the individual who has decided to take action steps. And striving is just the person who is settling for where they are. And that's the only difference, because I can take a person who is earning $25,000 living in a low income apartment, take two people. They both live there. They both have the same circumstances, same age, same amount of kids. Both of them are on some type of support system. And one of them is saying, I don't think I'm going to go on to work today. I don't think I'm going to do this. Who cares anyway? Let me go hang out with the boys. Let me hang out with the gals. And the other one has got a book. They can't afford school, so they go and they borrow books from the library, and they're studying after they've worked two jobs, and they're studying from 11 to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, because they know if they don't change themselves, they will never change their circumstances. Whenever they wake up in the morning, they say, I know I can do this. I know I got this. I'm tired, but I'm going on anyway because my kids got to eat, and I cannot leave this to the dependency of the government or my mom or my dad or my brother or my sister or my friend or anybody. So they work two jobs. They don't sleep. Everybody looks at them. They say, you're a train wreck. You can barely make it to where you got to be on time, and they are just getting by the grace of God. But they are building up their internal fortitude. They are skilling up. They are developing a mindset. They are watching videos to see, how did all these other people struggle and become whatever they were, and they are taking note. They are catching the dream. They are catching fire. Their desire level to exit immediately is so strong. That person is thriving. And when you see them coming, you will never have known it, because every single day they were standing right next to you with bloodshot eyes. And then sooner than later, they just show up and you say, what happened to you? Where you been? I ain't seen you. They disappeared for 1 year and came back. Something totally changed and you missed it. And that's the only difference between someone who is striving and someone who's thriving. Well, I shouldn't say only, but I hope you can take that. I'm talking to the audience because Mike understand what I'm talking about. What'd you say, brother?
First off, I love this. Wherever I find, he said, wherever I see or find myself, I check myself. Was that wherever I find myself, I check myself.
Yes.
You gotta, and here's the thing, to make, and I do it all the time. So if you took it a different way, I'm not sure exactly how a person. Actually, I do. I'm empathetic to understand. Oh, this you looking for? No, I need to understand and to make sure my values and my morals are in alignment, because I want to be in a state of alignment. All crowds and all places aren't meant for me to be there. And I understand that. If someone said all money is not good money, I know that, right? I totally understand that. You spoke about the here's the thing. You spoke about the belief, and then you said then you do the faith, which is going to be attached to the action, and then you'll get this, whatever the result is. I want people to understand is, do not get caught up with the results. Get caught up
exactly.
in your behavior change, your way of being changed. Because once again, you and I both could be working this job. We making whatever it is, 20, 30, 40,000. We're both making the same, but my behavior is different. It's more incongruent with what I believe in, what my morals are. Is my behavior showing that? You can tell. I'm sure a lot of us have went into a place. Oh my God. I'm going to shout out to a couple of these people. I'm like the North Lake King. You go to Costco's on North Lake. There's a guy named Jose. How do I know Jose at Costco? Because he is the most enthusiastic, excited person to be doing his job. Hey, sir, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. The lot you when you're walking up to the door, you hear him. If you're in the Costco on North Lake, you know that you know Jose, because if you and this if you go regular, I'm a regular at Costco. Okay, so I know Jose. I don't think I know anybody else's name in that place, but I can tell you who Jose is. If you go to LA Fitness on North Lake in Congress at 4:30 in the morning, you are going to see Jeremy. Jeremy is in a wheelchair. He's at the front desk and he's opening it up 30, 45 minutes before the place is supposed to be open. He's always speaking encouraging words. He's excited. Hey, brother, I'm just blessed and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see you here today. He's gonna have a conversation with you. Brother, you know how I'm doing this. I'm just doing well. This is you're going into you're understanding people. So the money or the so-called status of this job or whatever, it has nothing to do with the person's character, because that character is going to show through. And this character comes from faith. You're gonna have to have belief and faith. Take Jeremy's case. You in a wheelchair, probably hadn't became in a wheelchair as an adult, and still to have that type of push and excitedness. That way, whenever I'm renewing my membership, I'm seeing Jeremy. I want to talk to him. I know they get a little bit of something, so I got to go see him. And if you go to North Lake, LA Fitness, go renew with Jeremy. Me thinking when I see him, like whenever it's time for me to take the next step, if that's what God so sees it, as far as scaling, I'm gonna go. Hey, Jeremy, do you need a job, man? I'm going to North Lake on Costco and I'm poaching. Hey, Jose, I need someone to come here and greet my clients. What are they paying you here? Well, maybe we can work something out. Right? It's a striving. Go ahead, brother.
Let me throw something in just on that. And so this is where the opportunity lies at. That's where it is. Like the brother, I mean, that's powerful. And somebody may have missed it. You know, the characteristic of that individual, the character of that individual is, I mean, somebody is watching. People are always watching you. And there's somebody who has the ability that could change your life. But you got to show the change inside of you so that somebody else can see it. And when they see it and recognize it, because the bro even started off with that. Like when we can tell a low energy person, we can tell a high energy person, we can tell a person that's just faking it. They ain't got nothing at all. It's all hype, no show. But when it's real, oh, I'm thinking about you. When I go home, I'm still thinking about you. If I got an opportunity, I'm thinking about you. If you gave me your number, I'm thinking about it. Might be a year later. I'm thinking about you. And the same thing's happening for me, who somebody is on a higher level. They are thinking about me. They thinking about Mike. The whole reason why Mike is a real estate agent right now, why he's a broker right now, is because he was somebody that was greater than the position that he held at the time being. And while there were so many people that overlooked Mike, that were trying to check him because he was doing a good job. He's doing a good job. He's trying to help these kids out. He's doing all these things. He's going above and beyond, and people checking him because he's making them look bad because he grew too large for the pond he was swimming in. And the others were not able to recognize the qualities that he brought. What they should have done is they should have said, let me teach Mike everything because Mike is only going to benefit me anyway. He just isn't that type of guy. Let me groom him. Let me take him under my wing. Let me push him up. And if he does bypass me, he'll never forget me because the type of person he is, he will probably bypass me anyway. So I should just help him. And when he gets up top, he'll remember me. I'll ask him, remember me. And if not, it's going to come back to me because if you cast your bread out on many waters, God will never forget it's coming back. And see, that's the difference right there. All of them people he just named, Jeremy, that they somebody looking for you, man. And that's the other thing that Mike was talking about, the opportunity. You got to keep your eyes open. Don't turn down the opportunity. You don't know which one it is. And until you get clarity and understand the differences of opportunities, take them all. Take them all. and then let them sort themselves out. I just had to mention that,
Yeah.
man, because that
I'm a build, and I want to build on it too, brother, because that's exactly it. When you're in this survival state, you see someone who comes along, whoever it is, me, you, yourself, Jeremy, Jose, whatever it is, because you're in a survival state, you're focused, you're so scoped on this one laser beam thing, like he's gonna make me look better. And a person in survival state in that scarcity mode is just so laser focused, they can't widen the scope because you just saw it and was like, well, wait a minute. If I widen my scope, if I start to see everything, Mike can actually, whether or not, if I can give him all this information, then he can take it and run with it. He can move. He could do forward. So that's why we're doing, once again, the beliefs and the behaviors you start with that belief. But once you get into the faith aspect of it, and we spoke about this before, we don't know where we're going to end up going. But as our behaviors as our belief gets stronger, and we start to take more action, and we're taking more action, we start taking more action, we get into it and say, wait a minute, there's a bunch of different things that this behavior, this skill, whatever it is, this thing can take me to different places. And I'm ready for it at this point in time. But if you stay in your lane and you don't build on and you don't take a step and you don't move forward, you don't because I'm gonna tell you what, time is gonna happen anyways, and that's the only finite thing that we have. But the opportunities and the money is endless. The opportunities and the money, it's going to be endless, but this finite time that you have, you're not making use of it because you're in this mentality. And then now we got everything else that's pulling at all this. Like I'm looking at this. You start paying attention to this. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? As opposed to really being in this thriving state, this thriving state that you can see all these different things. And I got to go. It's almost time. Listen. We was just heating up, man. This is a dope conversation, and we can continue going towards it. I think some things that I want to talk about, and I know the brothers normally we're on the same page. We can start talking about getting in alignment, starting to understand these different values, starting to understand how to develop our values and be on this and see why we're so conflicting. Because I know some of us are attempting to get out of that place. We do want to move forward, but then we have these conflicting values because we have been in a state of survival for so long that it's scary and it's uncomfortable to get in a place of thriving. Well, if I'm not arguing with this person between 3 and 5 o'clock on a Friday, how am I going to fill my time? You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to this. So I understand it, but then we always have these conflicting values, and I always say it's like having that governor on your engine, where we start to get ahead, and then we get knocked back down because we get to a point we knock back down because we're scared. We don't want to stick our head up above the crowd and be noticed for what it is. When that's in the goal, because I feel like that's what we were created for. You know what I mean? And then we go back and we give our testimony, brother. But I appreciate you listening and chiming in, because I think this has been a really awesome conversation, and I'll let you end it.
Love it, y'all. Everybody take care, man. Be good out there. Hope you gain something. Peace.
All right. Perfect, man. Appreciate you all. We will see you next week on Community Beacon.